All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Your Story. Today, I'm sitting down with Austen Alexander. He's a Navy vet, content creator, entrepreneur. How many subscribers do you have on YouTube now? Over a million,
A
something like
million,
that?
yeah. We just
Yeah.
hit a million last year. Yeah.
Yeah, congrats on that, man. And first off,
Thank
thank
you.
you for your service. Um,
Thank
so
you.
the first topic I have here is the Navy. So what drew you into the military to begin with, and the Navy in particular?
My family wasn't really a big military family. I mean, my grandpa was an Army MP in the reserves, and my uncle was in the Coast Guard, but not really, no influence from my parents to join. I began trying to better myself, and along that journey, I found fitness, and after that, I found the military. There was really never a I never really said I'm going to grow up and join the military. I thought I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was just, I just didn't see myself doing it until one day a good friend of mine, after a workout, he took me to the recruiting office with him. He was going to join the Navy,
Hmm.
and I just sat down in the corner, didn't really talk to anybody. The recruiter said, "Do you want to join?" I said, "Nope," and he said, "Okay," and he just left me alone. And when I was starting to leave, he gave me a pamphlet and he said, "Hey man, just consider the Navy. I think it'll be good for you." And that was it. And I walked off, and that was my first experience with a recruiter.
How many years did you end up serving?
7 years.
7 years. So at that point, did you sign a 4 year and then re-enlisted and extend, or how did that work on that?
So when I originally joined the Navy, I joined as ND, and they have a contract requirement of 6 years. ND in the Navy stands for Navy Diver.
Okay.
And when I went through the training, I didn't pass the dive training, and when I reclassed as MA. So an MA,
Okay.
for an MA's contract requirement, it's 4 years. Well, I guess there was a disconnect between the detailer and the reclass office, so they had me on 6 year contract still.
Mm.
And at about year four, I was like, okay, I'm ready to get out. And they were like, "Oh, your contract says 6 years." I said, "Well, you guys, you better change it because I'm an MA. I'm not an ND. I have a 4 year contract requirement." And basically, they offered me orders that I liked enough to stay in, enough to fulfill that 6 years so they wouldn't have to do the paperwork.
That sounds like I don't know about the Navy, but it sounds like the military. It's like, we don't want you to
Yeah.
get out. Here's some orders that you might like, you
Yeah.
know, to what can we do to keep you in? So you kind of touched on this, but your job was naval security, right?
Correct.
Okay, so how did you like that job since you were initially going for a diver? And would you recommend that job to somebody who's looking to join?
I would recommend the job if they have an interest in law enforcement or providing security. I hated it when I first went into the MAA school or the MOS school. And about probably 6 months into being an MA, I was switched over to the Harbor Patrol Division. Then I realized, like, as an MA, you can do a lot of things. You can do CRS, you can do Mesron, you can do CRG, you can do NCIS, you can do Harbor Patrol Unit. And I went from standing gate duty, which is just basic master at arms duty, to Harbor Patrol. Requires a little more training, requires boat handling, and I loved it. It was great. It was so much fun.
So going through that, you said that one of the options is NCIS. So that kind of reminds me of the NCIS TV show. So did you ever have like interactions with NCIS, or how accurate do you think the show portrays the NCIS?
NCIS tells it from a civilian job as a GS position or just a civilian job as an NCIS agent. In the military, there's so many different billets for NCIS. You could be, um, I guess, I mean, I temporarily had NCIS orders, never fulfilled them. So I'm not sure exactly what it's like, but I feel like the show can be pretty accurate coming from a civilian standpoint. But if someone in NCIS that as a rate in the Navy or in the military, it's probably not going to be as accurate as it is on the TV show.
I remember the video from before, or I think it was like a year after you got out. It was about your transitioning and how hard that was going from daily mission to no mission. Can you explain further, or would you just recommend people to go and watch that video of how your transitioning was?
Yeah, I can explain it. When you're getting out of the military, it feels like, you have all these responsibilities. You know exactly where you need to be, what time. And when I got out, I feel like I was on a train going 100 miles an hour. And then when I got out, I was just at a complete standstill. Yep. And, I was living such a fast life when I got out. I had no responsibility. I could just sit in bed all day if I wanted. The battle bunker, the project that I had been working on, it did keep me busy. It kept me sane most days. It made me feel like I had a sense of purpose. But for the most part, getting out for me, it was tough just because, you have all that responsibility. You feel like you're part of a team. And when you get out, you kind of own your own.
That daily mission to no mission.
Yeah,
It's that's a hard thing to get past, especially when you're used to it for so long.
it is. It is.
So you were talking about the battle bunker being that project that kind of kept you sane. When did you start working on the battle bunker?
It was probably so in 2020, I had been asked several times by my command if I was staying in the military or getting out, and I didn't know what to tell them. I didn't have a plan to get out. I was afraid of the transition, and I said, you know what? Now is the pivotal time. I really have to either go all in with the military or go all in getting out and taking my business full time. And for the life of my YouTube channel, I never wanted it to be just about myself. I didn't want it to be Austen Alexander Fitness. I didn't want it to be just Austen Alexander. That's why I still to this day involve a lot of people, service members, athletes, competitors. And I started working on Battle Bunker when they asked me if I was going to stay in and get out. I had made the decision in my mind that I was going to get out. And I said, well, I need to start building this community, and I need to start doing what I really want to do on YouTube and in life, which was power athletes to be their best self through competitions, through videos, through inspiring content. And I just looked at my channel. I said the best performing videos are obstacle course videos. And I said, okay, well, I love obstacle courses. I love being there. I would love to actually do something full time with a course just because I like the camaraderie. I like running them. It's fitness. It encompasses everything that I like doing. So I built my own in the desert, and I started building it like really close to the time that I was going to get out.
Mhm.
I got out officially. My terminal leave ended December 9th, I think, and I started working on the course like November or maybe like mid October of
Okay.
2020. I was out there day in, day out, building that course, getting it ready to film videos on and bring people out to it.
So you were talking about your companies or your company when you were in the military. What company did you have prior to the battle bunker, or is the battle bunker like a subset of a company?
Battle Bunker is its own company now. But
Okay.
when I first started, it was just an IP owned by my big company. AMA Marketing Ventures is what I started in 2018. I started getting really interested in digital marketing, everything from content production to photos to formatting for different social media platforms to email marketing. I mean, everything. I taught myself everything. And I was in a lot of debt in 2018. Like, it was painful. I mean, it was $20,000. It may not seem like a
Wow.
lot to other people, but it was 20,000 on a credit card, very high interest rate. I couldn't I couldn't escape that debt, and it's one of the worst feelings that I've ever felt is being under that debt. And in 2018, I just told myself, "Hey, you need to kick it into gear, or you're going to be a loser." So I started teaching myself skills. I started with Amazon FBA, and then I started learning stock trading. Then I started learning the digital marketing, and I said, okay, this is cool. I can roll with the digital marketing. And I started trying to help clients or other businesses market on social media. Then I realized I hated doing that. I was like, I can't do this forever. So I just started doing it for myself. I took everything that I learned through courses, through everything, and just applied it to my own social platforms, and it started to grow from there. And
Got,
that's AMA Marketing Ventures.
gotcha, gotcha. What advice would you have to somebody who has their own YouTube channel but wants to turn it into like a brand or a business? Going down that road.
Yeah, I would say if you are producing on YouTube for the money, you're not going to make it anywhere, just because you really have to love what you're doing, because you have to invest so much time and so much creativity and so much learning into it that if you're just doing it for money, a lot of people pull out really quick. When I first started posting on YouTube, I absolutely fell in love with it. I fell in love with the process. I love working with cameras. I loved doing it all. And that's what ultimately led to the success of my channel.
But how do you go about making a good thumbnail? Like Mr. Beast will have like three, four, five thumbnails that if one doesn't work, he'll just interchange it out. Is that something that you do? Or do you already have like the one thumbnail just like in mind? And then how do you go about actually creating that?
It's been a process. We used to start with producing a video first and then taking a screenshot from the thumbnail. I mean, from the video and creating a thumbnail. But now we produce thumbnail first and then kind of edit the storyline to max the title and the thumbnail. The thumbnail is the most important part, especially nowadays with all the short form content and different platforms. You really have to nail that thumbnail, and we still struggle with it all the time. But I've just taken best practices and thumbnails that have performed well, and I kind of just recreate them with the different subject matter or different theme. And yes, we
Okay.
do have a team. I mean, I've been working with uh, one of my good friends. His name's Ivan. He's a full suite guy. He's full time with me now. He does he's a shooter. He's an editor. He's an organizer. He's a project manager, and he's really good with Photoshop. So we'll sit down. We'll brainstorm how to set up the thumbnail, the best way to go about it, and just design a way. Before you know it, it could very well turn into a business, a full time business, which you can do after the military if you plan to get out. And team doesn't you don't start with a team. You have to build that up. You have to
Right.
learn the ins and outs of every business. And I'm not just saying this for you, I'm saying it for your listeners as well.
Hmm.
You have to learn the ins and outs. So if I have somebody on payroll that's doing something for me, I can guarantee that I know the job that they are doing well too. Like if I have a groundskeeper, I already know his responsibility. I know that he checks the grass twice a week at Battle Bunker. I know he sprays. I know he waterproofs. We're talking about Ivan. He's a shooter. He's an editor. That was all me. It was all in my hands before I hired these people to do it with me now. So yeah, it's if I had to start a business and hire people, like if I had unlimited money and I had to hire people in these job positions, chances are it would not be successful because I wouldn't know what some of the job positions require. But since I can identify what I need, what takes the most of my time, and what would benefit me the most, now I hire somebody out to do that.
It's good philosophy to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's good philosophy to have.
Thank you.
So, topic number 3 here is fitness. You were talking about in the beginning, you were the fitness and the Navy kind of coincided. How did you first like get into fitness?
When I was about 20 years old, or probably about maybe 18, my brother got me to the gym for the first time. I used to be kind of overweight, not strong at all, just kind of like a nerd that would just play video games all the time. And he got me to the gym. We started curling. We started doing biceps. I said, "This is the stupidest thing in the world. Why would anybody want to do this? Your arms are hurting. You're just sitting there." And then after about a week, I started to really enjoy it. You start to see people at your gym. You start to, hey, what's up? Like you maybe take some pre workout if you need to and just kind of get in the zone, listen to some music and have a good time. After the YMCA days with my brother, I moved more into functional fitness and swimming. That's when I dipped in. I I started swimming a whole lot, running a whole lot, and I fell in love with fitness, the way it made me feel, the way it made me look. And I just kind of carried it with me as one of those tools and activities that I could do that was healthy, that would benefit me and would keep me sane. So that's when I got first got into fitness. It was about, a year before the Navy, before I joined the Navy. And of
Okay.
course, yeah, when I joined the Navy, I just used fitness as a tool to help keep me sane and for mental health, and yeah, that's where fitness started for me.
So, what did you think about the PT standards in the Navy?
Well, I hated them. I was taking the physical screening test, which included a swim, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and a run. And then when I got into big Navy or the regular Navy, they had this thing called the PRT. It's push-ups, sit-ups, and a run. I always excelled. I always thought it was super easy. I thought the standards should be a lot more. So yeah, that's what I thought about the Navy PT standards. I thought they were a joke.
Well, in that case, what do you think about the Air Force PT standards?
I think it's
Because those are
very, very,
those are even lower.
yeah, I think it's very easy. What I do like, what the Army is doing, is they've made a more functional and more hybrid test, including the deadlift, the run, the um, sprint drag carry, the standing power throw. I really enjoy that test.
So that kind of goes me into the next one with doing all of these physical fitness tests from the US military, foreign military, et cetera. What do you think? Well, I kind of already said this, but our standards and then who has the toughest standards?
The toughest physical test is the Russian Spetsnaz test. It's the most dynamic. It's got the toughest standards. Um, Now, I don't know anything about these training pipelines. I would veer on the edge of saying that the Navy SEAL pipeline is the toughest, just because you have Hell Week in there, and then you have SQT or SQS or SEAL qualification training or SEAL qualification standards, and it's just like a 2 year pipeline. So, yeah, as far as like physical test and then pipelines, I would say Russian has the toughest test, and then Navy SEAL has the toughest pipeline.
I don't remember. I know I've watched a lot of your stuff, but I don't remember you doing the Russian Spetsnaz
I
test.
haven't. I can't do it. I would completely get destroyed. We're working on it though. We're working on shooting now. When there were just so many events, I think there's like 12 events, and
Wow.
yeah, it's a long, long shooting day.
Wow. What do shoots typically look like if you're going to do a fitness test like that?
So we just posted the Swedish fitness test on my
Mhm.
channel. That one took about probably 6 hours of shooting, even though the events are very short. They're like 2 hours. I mean, they're like 2 minutes,
Mhm.
anywhere from 2 minutes to 15 minutes a piece. And in between, you have to shoot intros, you shoot interviews, there's a lot that goes into shooting. And then you have breaks for the crew to eat. So, yeah, I mean, a 15-minute video, chances are we spent 6 to 8 hours, maybe 2 days shooting it.
So, is there anything that you want to be able to do in regards to fitness that you currently can't?
Yeah, I'm shooting for an Ironman in May. I don't think that I can't do it in May. I just don't want it to knock me out for, 3 or 4 weeks. So I need to work on my running. I definitely need to work on my biking some more.
So, what goes into an Ironman?
It's a triathlon. So you start out with a swim. This is a half Ironman. It's called a 70.3. You start off with a 1.4 mile swim. And I think it's like a 54-mile bike ride, and then it's a 13-mile run. So it's a lot of stamina, a lot of endurance work. But the three movements are pretty simple. We all used to ride a bike as a kid. We've all went on a run before. Swimming, that's the one that gets a lot of people. That's the biggest barrier to entry for a triathlete or someone who wants to do a triathlon is the swimming. For me, swimming was my weak point, so I've just worked on it so much over the years. I swam a 4 mile in the Hudson Bay with a Navy SEAL swim. I've swam a lot in pools, like hundreds of laps, and I feel like the thing that's going to be getting the most is the bike.
So why do you think the bike is going to get you?
I have the least amount of experience on a bike. It's been forever since I've been on a bike. I just ordered one. It'll be here Friday. We have these beautiful mountaintops and these beautiful trails back here where I live. So I'm just going to hop on and try to do a 20 miler and then bump it up to a 25 and then 30 and then 35 and just keep pushing it from there.
So that kind of brings me into you're in Chula Vista, or at least that's where a lot of the videos are filmed with the Chula Vista Training Center.
Correct. Chula Vista. Yeah. Chula Vista, California.
So talk to me about that and why you moved to Chula Vista.
I've moved pretty much wherever the battle bunker has gone in the last, since 2020, even though it's only been 2 years. I've moved according to where I think the battle bunker would flourish the most. Originally, I built the obstacle course out in Moore Park. It was out in the desert. There's no power, there's no water out there, kind of in a shitty place. But I built it there to prove the concept to myself and to others and to build basically a case study. After being there for a year and a half, I said, okay, either battle bunker is just I'm just going to cancel it and stop, and I'm not the type to just stop something without a very reasonable explanation.
Hmm.
And I didn't want the explanation to be we don't have a location. So I said there's got to be somebody who can partner with us, or there's got to be someone who can let us use their facility for this course. And in 2021, no, I'm sorry, 2022, I had
Okay.
gone to the Olympic Training Center here in Chula Vista with a friend of mine named Michelle. I said, "Man, this place is beautiful." And I got to thinking, like, I would love to be out here in this area. Chula Vista is beautiful. It's nice. It's San Diego. My girlfriend would love San Diego. And when I put two and two together, I said, you know what? They have this training center there, and I have this obstacle course which needs to be built, or another obstacle course. I wonder if I can and see if we can build our course inside of Chula Vista. So I pitched it to him. We had multiple meetings. I drove down here 4 hours down and 4 hours back. And in March is when I first asked them. And I think by about April, May, maybe June, we had come up on an agreement to let me build the course inside of the training center, to let them use it for their operations, for us to be able to come in and film on it. And we made it happen. As soon as they said yes, probably 2 or 3 days later, we signed a lease on a place down here. We moved. 2 days after we moved here, the builders flew in from the East Coast, and we got to work, and they had that course built in about 15 days.
So as soon as everything was signed and ready to go, it was fast. It was hit the ground running. All
It
hands
was
on
go
deck.
time. Yeah, the president at the training center even said, "Dang, you guys move quick." He's like, "You already moved down here." I mean, I moved 2 blocks from the training center. I'm within half a mile. I run to it almost every day, and yeah, it's been great. It's beautiful down here.
So talking with the training center and with the obstacle course, what makes it so difficult that the 8 minute time cap is in what I've seen in a lot of your videos, it's really hard to achieve.
It is. It's very hard because people look at a Spartan race and they say, "Oh, I can do a Spartan race. I can finish a Spartan race, so I can do the Hypercon course." In a Spartan race, let's say you have 3 miles and 22 obstacles or something like that. So 80% of the time, you are jogging or walking. I've done Spartan races before. During that jogging or walking portion, I'm resting. The Hypercon course, there is no rest. To beat that 8 minute time cap, you have to go the whole time. And you are hitting obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. And instead of 80% running and 20%
Mhm.
obstacles, like a Spartan race, it is 80% obstacles and 20% running. So you are hitting those obstacles back to back to back to back to back to back. And a lot of people get sick out there. A lot of people throw up a lot, which we don't show that on camera, but it is an intense course, very intense.
So how do you think the Hypercon course would compare to like an American Ninja Warrior course?
We had an American Ninja Warrior guy. I think he placed in the top something. His name's Eric Middleton.
Okay.
He just set the record for the course yesterday at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So
Wow.
I can't really compare our course to an American Ninja Warrior course because we have had American Ninja Warriors come through that don't have endurance. They just have good balance and good grip strength. The Hypercon course is all of them. You have to have exceptional endurance, you have to have exceptional grip, and you have to be able to control your body for 8 minutes straight. But if we had to compare this to another course, we had two guys that were going through buds. We had them out there about a month and a half ago, and both of them ran the course. Neither finished in the 8 minute time cap. Didn't even come close, really. And when they stopped, I didn't know that they were in the buds pipeline. But when they stopped, they said, "Man, this is harder than the course in Coronado." And I said, "Which course?" They're like, "Bud's course." I'm like, "Dang, this is harder than the Bud's course?" And they're like, "Yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy." So about a week or two after, I actually paid a visit to the Bud's course, and I ran it. It is a tough course. It's more daunting than our course just because things are higher and there's a real chance of falling. But I did it. I did the course, and I can't even do the Hypercon course. So different skill sets for sure. Heart rate is definitely higher on our course. Um, but yeah, just it's a different world out there.
You wouldn't be able to do the Hypercon course in under 8 minutes?
No, I still can't do it.
Wow. So you
For me,
designed
it's
it to a point where even you can't do it.
well, I designed half of it. The other half was done by one of the top obstacle racers in the world. He's a business partner of mine with Battle Bunker. His name's Hunter McIntyre. He just did the course in like 4:30 or like 5:30, and he's a heavy dude as well. So yeah, I'm gonna get there one of these days. I've been doing it. I have scratches and bruises and cuts all over my body from doing the course, but I'll get there.
So when you think of people who you look up to in the fitness world, who would someone like that be?
Um, that's a tough one. Just because I don't consume a whole lot of fitness content.
Okay.
Some of the top creators right now are bodybuilders.
Hmm.
In my opinion, it's easy to be a bodybuilder just because you have a standard process. There's no hardly any mental aspect involved with it besides the diet. But there's nothing like when you're out there and you're going for a bike ride or a swim or a run, your brain is telling you to stop every single step, every single mile, just because it sucks. So probably some triathletes. I look up to Hunter a lot. Nick Bear is a great one. He's a great performer. You got Goggins out there running on a bum knee. Um, there are several, but I never really look at someone and say they achieved that. I want to achieve that because they achieved it. I kind of just set my own intentions and my own things. Like I've never done an Ironman before. That's why I want to do one. And I know Nick Bear does. He used to do a lot of Ironmans in the past. Um, so yeah, I guess maybe those three people that I mentioned.
So that's a mindset that not a lot of people are able to grasp is I'm going to set a goal and then I'm going to go achieve it. It's a lot of it is I see somebody else doing it and I want to do what they do.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
I would encourage people to set their own goals because just because somebody achieves something doesn't mean it's going to be as hard for you as it is for them, or it doesn't mean it's going to be, easy for you. So I would say take a good look at yourself, pick something that you've never done and something that scares you, and then go for it.
so I asked this to another creator that I had on and I said, "What would you say to somebody who's aspiring to be in fitness or a content creator that look up to you as inspiration?"
I would say get used to rejection, get used to the feeling of failure. It's not about how often you face those things, it's about how you react and how you respond to them. I feel like every single day I'm being faced with some sort of rejection or some sort of feeling of failure, but you have to use it to keep pushing you forward. I mean, in content creation, which is a business, there just like a business, there are multiple layers of rejection and multiple feelings of failure that you can experience. Just get used to it, become comfortable with being rejected. As long as you respond positively and just keep going, stay consistent, you will succeed. It sounds cliche because you have all these motivational speakers saying that, but it's 100% the truth.
Deep words, deep thoughts. It when I'm hearing you talking about that, it's kind of like, okay, I don't know where to go off of this.
It's all right. We can let it breathe for a second if you want.
Yeah, yeah. I've had a couple of those moments over the last couple of episodes that it's like, oh my god, that was just really deep. I have to think about that before I even ask the next question. I just
Hmm.
have to think about that one for a minute. Um, so if somebody isn't into physical fitness or they have a body stature like mine, they're super, skinny, high metabolism, can't put on weight, can't lose weight, whatever, where would you suggest for them to start if they want to improve their physical fitness?
I would say, just like you did, I'm not meaning to pick on you, but we'll use this as an example. You said can't. For me, I was a hard gainer as well. I was 6'3.5". I was 160 pounds. I told myself, you can't gain weight. It's hard for you to gain weight. You'll never be muscular. But the key to that is just believe. Believe that you can put on the weight. That's the very first thing. Believing is not going to make you put on weight, but it's going to set you up and set your intentions up to act towards that goal. So I would say, since you have a high metabolism, it's hard for you to put on weight. Have you ever monitored your calories, your caloric intake on a daily basis?
I was for a certain while, and then it was trying to find the balance of um, just eating to get the calories and eating the proteins and the fibers and everything else that I'm supposed to be eating. But then that
Hmm.
also, in today's society, it's easier to get that empty calorie foods versus the good foods because of the price range and everything, the recession in the economy that we're in right now. So that kind of played a big role in it. But then
Hmm.
COVID also hit, and then it caught me out of the game with the gym. And so there were a couple of things. And then I'll admit it's just been pure laziness, for me not going back to the gym or eating right or,
Well,
whatever it is.
you know, good food is expensive, yeah. But in order to gain weight and to eat healthy, it doesn't have to be expensive. I'm sure you've seen the hauls that people are like, I'm eating this meal for $3.40. You can very well do that. You can do it at the Navy Exchange. You can do it from Walmart. I mean, go into the Navy Exchange and either get a rice cooker or buy the rice in bags. That's a whole lot of carbs. And maybe sliced meat. I used to go into the Navy Exchange in Bahrain, still on a tight budget, and get slices of chicken breast, zero carb, zero fat. It was just pure protein. And I would pair that with a carb heavy meal, and that's how I'd get my meals in. And sometimes I mean, all the time you have to do things that are not convenient. I was eating cold ass chicken on a hot boat. It didn't even make sense. It was kind of gross, but I still made it happen. So, um, if I was going to give you a tip, I would say, despite all of the COVID happening and the planning and the scheduling, and it's tough to get your hands on food within a good price range.
And the many excuses that I could come up with. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Turn those around, and instead of can't, just find a way to do it. It can be as simple as waking up 30 minutes earlier or going to sleep 30 minutes later. You probably already have a lack of sleep right now just because you're in the military. But find find time to get those meals in to make it happen. And one thing that helps me a ton, if we're breaking it down to a science, is tracking my meals. I track my meals every day in my fitness pal. It helps me eat as much as I need, not over, not under, as much as I need.
Yeah, an old trainer had me going through my fitness pal and tracking all that stuff. And
Yeah,
he also
that's great.
couldn't understand how when I first started going to him, I wasn't eating a lot, but he would look at me and say, your maintenance calorie is like here. You're eating like here. How the hell are you not losing weight? And it's like, I have no freaking clue. I've been the same weight, the same stature since like the 10th grade.
Well, if you're under eating, chances are your body is maybe producing some extra cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and it's making you retain water weight. So that can cause, fat gain or water weight retention around your hips, your belly, whatever. Or it can just mean your body's like in survival mode. Like I function so much better, and I fall off sometimes too. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, the last year I was not counting my calories, but I was intuitively eating. And as you teach yourself through tracking, you learn things like how big is a portion, how much do I need, what makes me feel the best, what times of day should I eat. You're learning more about yourself, and that's something that you can carry for the rest of your life.
So going from that, are there any misconceptions about fitness that you've seen?
Oh,
And if so,
tons,
what
all the
what are
time.
your thoughts on those?
Yep, all the time. People, as far as the whole diet thing, a big fad in today's society with women is the 1,200 calorie diet. I just talked to a friend, her name's Jessica, where she was eating 1,200 calories. And I was like, well, you weigh 170 pounds. Why are you only eating 1,200 calories, starving yourself? She's like, well, I just heard, it was a good calorie goal to shoot for. I said, no, it's a very general, it's a very wrong general target that ladies will toss around. And we put her on about, I think she's eating 1,600 calories now, and she's already down 5 pounds. And it's been 3 weeks. And, that shift from her under eating, which is what I was talking about you earlier, under eating was causing her body to produce cortisol, and she was retaining water weight. So that 5 pounds down is probably a little bit of water weight. That's a misconception. Um, Simple things as like, you need to do high rep if you want to gain muscle. That's a misconception. I mean, there are tons of ideas and just false things that people create content around because it's going to get them viewership. And it's plagued society with thinking that these diets and these extreme calorie deficiencies are the way to go, which they're not.
The next topic I have is content creator slash influencer. So I know you kind of talked on it a little bit, but what initially got you into YouTube and being on social media, or the social marketing, side of things?
So my mom got a video camera when I was probably 13, and she used to film us doing stuff all the time, like home movies, like film my brother and I's Christmas and film us at the park, things like that. And one day I picked up that camera, I started filming with it, and I just loved it. Was so fascinating to me to go back and watch that footage. It was fun, it was entertaining. I feel like I was creating a video that I could share with people, and they loved. In reality, they just thought it was stupid, but it got me interested in the camera. And in high school, I had the chance to produce a show for our high school called Current Events. And every week we would produce this 5 to 10 minute episode of just current events that were happening, sports, weather. So that triggered my interest in creating video. And when I joined the Navy, I finally buckled down and created a documentary about a deployment. It was called Deployment Stories. It was about 7 minutes long. Took me the whole 7 months to make that documentary. But I got off deployment, I started sharing it. I shared it with my parents, posted it on Facebook, and everybody said, you need to post this on YouTube. This is great, so other people can see it. And I never was confident enough to post it on YouTube. But finally, one day I just did. I just posted. Didn't even choose a thumbnail. It was just a screenshot from the video, and I posted it. That video, a lot of people saw it, and by a lot of people, I mean I think it was like close to 1,000 at the time, which I thought
Okay.
was
Hmm.
pretty big. It was my first ever social platform besides Facebook,
I mean,
and
1,000 people is 1,000 people.
yeah, yeah,
You
and
know.
they were good quality viewers too. They were um, fellow Navy sailors. They were fellow service members, and that's the first time that I posted a video on YouTube.
So, being in the fitness niche, what are your thoughts on other fitness creators like Michelle Khare?
I can't stand Michelle. No, I'm just kidding. No, I love Michelle. She's great. She's a good person. She's a good friend of mine. She's a great content creator. I think her base is not fitness at all. I think it's just general
Okay.
lifestyle. She does a lot of fitness challenges
Hmm.
because that's part of her identity. She's a fit person. But yeah, I've done a bunch of collaborations with Michelle. I've done a bunch of collaborations with a lot of people across the board, and Michelle is one of my favorite people to collaborate with.
So you were nominated for the 12th annual Streamies in Health and Wellness. In
Hmm.
respect to Dr. Mike, who won, do you think he should have won, or do you think somebody else should have won that?
There's a lot of politics in the streamies. I can't say if Dr. Mike should have won. There is no voting. There's no chance to vote. It's all decided by the streaming awards. If you're going by viewership basis, then I think we had him by like 600 million views or something like that. I mean, we did a billion.
Wow.
We did a billion views on our Battle Bus series last year. But if we're talking about
Wow.
community, we're talking about community and just overall personality. People probably like Mike a lot better. I mean, he is a nice guy. Um, Spoke to him a little bit at the streamies. So I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I don't know if it's a media play on the streamies part, but yeah, he won.
What are your thoughts on Dr. Mike? Because he's like sweeping the health and fitness, floor. I shouldn't say sweeping the health and fitness floor, but he's rising more and more. He's coming up in my feed more and more often.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think he's a good guy. I think he has somewhat accurate information. I think he's easy to understand for people, and his videos are engaging. So I've got nothing against him.
Do you have any fears being in this niche, putting your body in any situation, not being able to achieve a really ambitious goal you set out, anything like that?
Not really. I mean, it's the same as life. Just because I put it online doesn't mean it's real, and doesn't mean I mean that doesn't mean it's not real, and doesn't mean that I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't on video. So, I mean, I've been doing challenges for the longest time, most of which I haven't even documented. One of the biggest fitness challenges I've ever done, which is that 4 mile swim in the Hudson. I didn't make a video about that. I was just focused on completing it.
So, with that, are there any videos that you have filmed and then you've gotten like halfway through it and then, or halfway through editing it or something like that and saying this just doesn't feel right and just end up scrapping it? Because I know I've had those videos.
Uh, in the past, yes, but if we create a video, there's lots of discussion about it. It's me, Ivan, Trooper, maybe Matt. Those are some of my team members. We talk about it a lot, and if something's wrong or something's not feeling right, they will tell me, and they know that I'm not the type to say, well, I don't care what you think, let's not do it, or let's do it anyways. And yeah, so we have clear intentions with the videos we put out now. So we don't really scrap a whole lot of them that we produce.
What's one that you have scrapped that you really were looking forward to going out, but then for some whatever reason it didn't end up going out?
It was fitness influencers attempt my obstacle course, and I met a couple at the gym. I said, "Hey, you guys would be great. You're fitness influencers. Why don't you come out and do the obstacle course?" Well, when they showed up, they were wearing like these really, really skimpy one piece, and it was basically like half thong, half shorts. And they showed up, and I was like, "Well," I said, "let's go ahead and shoot. I'm already paying the videographer out here, and I'm already paying, you know, whatever." And we shot the video. We were editing it. I said, "I can't put this out. Way, way too sexual," just because of the things they were wearing. And we scrapped that video.
So, what do you think about old YouTube versus new YouTube? Because years ago, like, 6, 7, 8 years ago, you could have put that out and not have had a problem with it.
I could, and it wouldn't have been flagged by YouTube, but just the impression of my channel, like we have nothing sexual in my channel. And if I posted with these fitness influencers wearing thongs, people would be like, "What the hell is going on?" You know? And I think of my viewers as like a family that sits down to watch, and I wouldn't want to expose them to that, so I just didn't post it.
Mm. Have you ever thought of, with the community that you've formed, have you ever thought of like a Patreon and exclusive content, or something like that, or memberships or anything along those realms?
Not really. I've always been the type to kind of just offer my content for free just because I hate asking for support. I even hate asking for help sometimes from my employees, and I pay them every month to help me. So I've never asked anybody to support me through a Patreon or for like exclusive content or something like that. We do have an app that we use to train people. We provide videos and training structure and programs, which we work a lot on, and that is paid. I don't see it as like an exclusive content
Mm.
platform.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So the last thing that I have here, the topic number 5, it just says the future. What do you see for the future of AMA marketing, or the Battle Bunker, the Battle Bus, Austen Alexander, the YouTube channel? What do you see for the future of all of that?
I like to talk like it's happening, so I will do the same in this tense. In 5 years, Battle Bunker will be one of the biggest fitness competitions with the highest cash prize. We'll also build the sport of HyperCon. We'll get our feet into franchising HyperCon gyms across the US and maybe across the world. And for Austen Alexander, I would love to continue to be the host of Battle Bunker, but this personality that's still creating new documentary style videos, whether it's going to a different country to try a different test, or whether it's just creating, going through some type of academy. I would still like to be one of the people that take on these challenges and shows people that it's good for you to take on these challenges.
Alrighty, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Austin, thanks for being on. I've really enjoyed the conversations today.
Thank you.
I look forward to more videos coming out, I should say, and the future endeavors that you have going on. Everybody who's listening, watching, make sure to check out Austin's channel, Austen Alexander. His link will be in the description below. Instagram. I'm not sure if you're on Twitter or Facebook, but any links that you have will be all in the description below. Yeah, if you have anybody else that you want to see on the podcast, let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to get more people on here, talk about more ways of life, people's achievements, failures, their story, because everyone's is different. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below, and hope you all have a good rest of your day. I'll catch you later. Peace out, guys.